This is Blenderstyle, the show where we discuss a blend of heavy and extreme music. In this episode, HammerFall, Crimson Thunder. This album was released in 2002 on Nuclear Blast Records. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hearts on fire! Nate, this is your pick. Are you familiar with HammerFall?
One album, and it was an album called Renegade. I don't know if it's earlier or if it's later. I didn't do much homework on it, but I liked a lot of the tracks on it, and so I wanted to check out another album.
I'm familiar with Hearts on Fire. That's the second track on this album.
Okay.
There was a video back in the day. It's a cool song, and I caught it, but I didn't go beyond that. And there's also HammerFall has a song called HammerFall, which I love when bands do that, like Black Sabbath does that as well. And I'm familiar with that one as well.
Okay, so I'm familiar with the Evolution album, however you want to say it. Not all the whole thing, just a few songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we're all a little familiar with it. I wouldn't say any of us are huge HammerFall fanatics.
No, I don't think any of us were very familiar with this, except for you. Listen to that one album.
Mm-hmm.
So this is.
I would say we're definitely power metal fans. Like we've dabbled in some power metal.
True. I think you guys are a little more.
Yeah, I think you and I probably more than that. But
after a few beers.
For sure.
I almost call this heavy metal. It's power metal for sure, but it kind of delves into more heavy metal.
I would agree.
Like it's not as
a little bit of.
It's not as fast. It's not as technical. It kind of like rocks a little more.
So this kind of reminds me more of an 80s glam feel than a power metal feel.
There's definitely 80s vocals.
Yes.
Dude, that ballad.
It's so good.
That's pretty 80s sounding.
There's lots of air quotes 80s moments.
Yeah.
I try not to use that term because it's like a blanket term.
It is.
But the vocals are definitely Judas Priest and Iron Maiden influenced. Like he can fucking belt out some songs for sure.
This even the riffage is,
it's like heroic and anthems. There's like anthems in this.
Oh, for sure.
And it's epic at points.
It's hooky.
What did they sing? Like fantasy stuff?
So there's kind of a mixture on this. So I didn't really dive into the vocals, but just based off what you could hear, a lot of it is, kind of fantasy, returning from combat,
Wizards.
I think there's the lyric in there where they're talking about a rainbow unicorn flying through the sky or something.
He uses the word forlorn, which is just like a fancy way of describing how I feel every single day.
Yeah, so this dude's vocal range also is on the higher octave, and he doesn't really go into any lows. Like you go from a standard kind of your talking range to like your high pitch, somebody just grabbed you by the balls kind of sound.
He's by the balls like almost the whole time.
But it's really good, and he doesn't get screechy at the higher registers either.
No, he can sing really well.
Yeah.
I think this whole band altogether is definitely good musicians, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A lot of, I don't know if they're still in this band or not, but I did a little bit of history, and there was members of In Flames in this band, and they were around
There's members of In Flames and HammerFall?
Yeah, it was like Sweden? A side project.
Wait, HammerFall was a side project, or In Flames was a side project?
HammerFall was a side project. So,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Of In Flames?
Yes.
Wow.
I believe I'm right, yeah.
Well, if you're
so these guys are from Sweden, right?
I believe, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
From Gothenburg, Sweden, formed in 1993.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they've been around for a while.
I did not know that.
I think some of the...
Have they gone through some lineup changes?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
I believe he's the
I think the singer is the only... I think they had one singer at the beginning, but he left before they recorded their first album.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I don't know about that, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's what I read.
There's definitely some like hard rock and guitar parts. Not like metal, like shredding guitar parts, but more like almost like Kiss or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of chuggy, repetitive, like kind of slow.
It's very anthem-y. It's very
like new wave of British heavy metal kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they start to delve into that. What do you guys like about this, Casey? What do you think?
So I really like the this had like a really cool 80s metal feel. And I mean, you've known me for a while. I'm a big fan of like the 80s glam metal thing. I like the guitar
like Poison and Motley Crue
stuff like. Well, not so much Motley Crue, but yeah, more of the 80s glam metal. I love a band who could lead with guitar and have really cool lyrics and just kind of like nonsensical lyrics, I guess you could say, because a lot of this stuff is like out
It's like
there.
silly,
Yeah, it's almost too cheesy at points, but it works, and it works really well. They have some really cool guitar solos on this. Like the solos on this thing are awesome.
I would agree with you like 100%. Like when they get,
yeah, I think some of them go a little too long, but even the ones that you're like, okay, I'm done listening to the solo, it's still progressing. It's still changing. It's not like stale at all. It's just you get tired of it because you're like, okay, I've heard 2 minutes of guitar solo now, but it's still a really good solo. The lyrics on this thing are cheesy as hell. The ballads, some of the ballads are just ridiculous. Like on the "Kiss Me Once and I'll Surely Melt and Die."
Dreams may come true. Yeah.
"Kiss Me Twice and I'll Never Leave Your Side."
Doesn't that sound 80s though?
It's so perfect though. It's such a perfect 80s.
That's what you like about that?
Oh yeah, dude, it's so cheesy.
So I was trying to grab
if you told that to a chick, she would leave your ass.
That's some clingy lyrics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, kiss me twice and I'll never leave your side.
This is a dude who just lost his virginity at 40 years old. And he's like, fuck, dude, please say this wasn't a fluke.
It's so accurate, bro. And that's what you like about it.
Yeah, it's so cheesy and clingy. It's over the top on some of the parts. So bad that it's good almost.
Do you think that's the same thing that like people like about Typo Negative? Like it's so kind of tongue-in-cheek that it works?
It is, and Peter still had like a really good sense of humor about it, and like the whole band was his sense of humor, and it was great, and a lot of people took him serious.
Kenny.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, there's a little bit of cheesiness that comes along with metal.
Oh, there is.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, there isn't. Pantera, there's no cheese on Pantera.
Dude, okay, I'm not saying that every metal album has to be, because you have it for different things, you know what I mean? But, like, I agree that, like, it's okay to have a little bit of fun and, like, be imaginative and, you know what I mean? There's
room
good
for
cheese.
it, for
yeah,
sure.
like Iron Maiden, you can't tell me there's not a little bit of cheese in Iron
Oh,
Maiden.
I totally agree. I don't like Iron Maiden.
There's a point.
Gonna be the next one we review.
So there's a point in your career where you could stop focusing on being the next big thing and just have fun with the music, and these guys are totally having fun with it.
I think they actually even do well in chart.
No,
somewhat.
and that's
but
fine.
this is for them, do you think?
Even if it's not for them, I think it's just the fact that they don't take this as, or at least it feels like they don't take this as a do or die kind of thing. Like, if we don't get big, we don't fucking get big kind of thing.
It's like genuine.
It's genuine, yeah. It's from the heart.
Hearts
on fire.
It's from the heart on fire.
Hearts on fire, hearts on... I cannot get that shit out of my head. There's lots of moments that, like... To me, one of the things I like about this album is Hearts on Fire. That's a cool song.
It's a catchy song. And honestly,
It's so
I
catchy.
hated that song the first time I listened to it. I was like, oh my god, this song is so fucking dumb. But it works. And it came back, and it's probably one of my favorite tracks now.
If I saw this album, like these songs, or this band live,
This
I would
band
enjoy
would be
myself.
Killer. This would be a fun party
would
band.
enjoy myself.
I would want that. Okay.
And I honestly,
I'll admit that I don't like this a lot, but I would totally watch it live.
Oh yeah, and I think he's somewhat actually serious in some of these lyrics.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like it gets pretty historical at times too. You know, it feels like. So.
I can't take any of this seriously. You know what? The last two tracks, the last one's an Yngwie Malmsteen cover, I think. They start to get a little progressive, like progressive rock, like Yes or Rush or something like that, or even like Dream Theater. And it's really cool. Like, they can fucking play.
Oh, for sure.
Like, they have a harpsichord on that last second to last track at the end.
Yeah, that's such a cool harpsichord part too. You don't hear harpsichord a lot, and they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, they brought it out of yeah, and it works really well.
And what's funny is that, like, a lot of the times a harpsichord you kind of associate with like that whole vampire theme thing.
Oh yeah, it's like Tori Amos shit.
Yeah, but it actually works really well in this, and it's kind of more of an upbeaty kind of harpsichordy part. It's not like that.
Oh, that's true. Because usually you hear it and it does sound like vampire music.
Down gloom, like, oh look, everything's falling to shit right now. But this is actually really cool.
It's kind of bright and like pleasant.
It sounds really good.
And it doesn't sound like they just brought out some weird instrument to make it weird.
No, it goes really good.
It fits really well.
So I don't know if they wrote the track around that, or if they wrote the harpsichord around the track. And some dude just was like, "Hey, dude, I got
Someone in the
this,
studio was like, "Hey, I got this
I got
harpsichord
this
back."
fucking badass harpsichord part, guys. We should write a song to it."
Do you think
I feel
harpsichords
like
are?
these guys actually definitely know a couple harpsichord. I think these guys know a lot of people that probably
Like
play
someone
all
said
kinds
that, you're like, "Oh, you got a harpsichord," and they play like a classical harpsichord song, like.
Well, you also got to take into account these guys are from Sweden, and a lot of the European music, I mean, not just metal, but music scene in general, is these people go to school to learn music.
Yeah.
It's not like America where somebody gets together with a bunch of their friends and are like, let's start a
They're
band.
also upbeat, and that comes across in this
They are.
music.
Well, in
it's very
Sweden, there's
upbeat.
like a different level of musicianship. Like,
Oh, there is.
like Dissection, they did that black metal album, right? Somberlane.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like, even like those bands, they have this
It's
understanding.
more technical and
They have
more,
this understanding of musical structure that a lot of American bands don't.
So for them to bring, you're saying for them to bring a harpsichord, it's just like
yeah,
par for the course.
it's par for the course, and it works great.
It was awesome, yeah. It was like a highlight of this album for me is that second to last track, track 11. They bring in that harpsichord. It's pretty cool.
So the song "Heroes Return," that chorus with the backup vocals on it is so good.
In my notes, I wrote that as Heroes Rectum.
But for our hero's return, our hearts still yearn.
Oh, that's so bad.
Something else that I like about this is that there's sometimes when the guitar player and the drummer are straight in the pocket. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's galloping.
That's true.
It's epic. Also, like the guitar solo on Crimson Thunder is like the best guitar solo on this whole record.
that
The
whole,
bass sounds great on Crimson Thunder,
that
too.
song is good.
It
Oh,
is
yeah.
really good.
I think that's one I was talking about where he talks about a unicorn.
Like Legend with Tom Cruise.
I only know like the lyrics to like the chorus parts, you know,
Oh.
with like
What are
it's
the
like,
What are the tracks? You have all the tracks written down?
no, I have what I like, and that's
So it's like Hearts on Fire and then nothing.
no, I like Riders of the Storm.
The first track.
Yeah, Hearts on Fire, On the Edge of Honor. It definitely has like a
On the Edge of Honor,
war
that's the
marching
one.
Judas Priest sound to me. And
Right.
like,
What's the first track called? Riders what?
Riders of the Storm. I
Riders-
was so hoping it wasn't a Doors cover because if it was,
yeah.
I would have fucking hated this whole thing. I probably wouldn't even gotten to this record.
It would have been great if it was a Doors ripoff, though.
That Doors song is 1,000 times better than that HammerFall song.
So I think Unforgiving Blade is actually the one where he talks about seeing the unicorn.
Is that what it's called? Unforgiving Blade?
Unforgiving Blade. That song is so catchy too.
Oh yeah, the Unforgiving
Yeah.
Blade. I wrote Skip.
Really, I thought that one was probably one of the better ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it then. But yeah, I definitely liked the musicianship, the guitar playing, the drumming,
Mhm.
and I like some of the cheesiness.
Yeah, there's some really good. Like, honestly, this was cheesy in a good way.
Yeah, I put this on when I want to listen to like a heavy metal record that's got some cool riffs.
When is that? When do you... I never want to do that.
Always.
Honestly, like, yeah, I kind of dig it. When I was younger, I was like, fuck this shit. This shit's garbage. And the older I get, I'm like, it's pretty tight.
The musicianship on this is honestly what makes this album so good.
Speaking of bad, what did you guys dislike about this?
So to me, the rhythm section overtook the rest of the band on some of the tracks. Nothing super major, but there were some times where the guitar and everything else got drowned out by the bass and the double bass. Almost like it got a little too loud at parts. Like maybe they went back in and re-recorded parts and the levels just weren't right. Nothing real major. It was a few parts throughout. And then there's some heavy chorus or reverb on some of the vocal parts. And I don't know if that's to cover up the fact that he's singing in such a high register and he's trying to cushion it. I'd like to hear it live. I didn't really get into like listening to live versions or anything.
Probably on that too, because it creates you probably even would have that with them live, because it affects, it makes like a chorusy
it
almost
makes it more
sound. It's
operatic,
epic.
yeah.
It's, you know.
But there's some parts it works really well, and then some parts it kind of gets a little heavy.
Dislikes for me would probably be, it does get a little cheesy at times. Some of the lyrics are just plain out ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I try to not listen to that.
You're like, I just ignore
I like the
lyrics.
musicianship and like, yeah.
I kind of disliked everything about this. This was not good. I did not like this at all. Like I like Hearts on Fire. I thought the production was there were some good bass parts, but for the most part, this is 80s sound. It's very cheesy. It's like rock guitars, which are boring to me. I like metal. And then when I thought it couldn't get any worse, Dreams May Come True comes on, and it's a ballad, and it's like the worst thing I've heard in metal for a long time. It's real bad. And I joked when I heard it for the first time, I was just like, what the fuck? And I texted you guys, and I texted the lyrics.
When I heard it too, I was like,
kiss me once and I will,
this.
and you talked about this before. Yeah. Kiss me once and I will surely melt and die. Kiss me twice and I will never leave your side.
Dreams come true.
Little clingy, little creepy.
So that was one of my dislikes, is that there were some ballads in here that kind of slowed the flow of the whole album. I really wish they would have pushed either all the ballads towards the end and kind of ended the album with the ballads.
So you just fucking skip them?
I think there's only like 2 or 3 on the whole album, but they're right in the middle of some really great flow. Like there's some really good tracks. And
I felt like in the end, the placement was fine.
I felt like
they come in at a reasonable time. They just suck bad.
I would have to agree with you because, okay, I like a lot of these songs actually.
Yeah,
and I think it's done pretty well. And I like that epic sound. I like that, like I'm going to go to war and stuff. But let me say this. I have to touch note on what you just said. Is okay, I got all the songs that I like, which are in the beginning. And then I have skip, and then back into a couple good songs. Mm-hmm. But like
the whole middle sucks.
Yeah,
I think it was like the first 3 or 4 tracks were good. Then they had a few kind of misses in between there. The song Angel of Mercy was kind of a mix between a ballad and a metal song, but they didn't really perform either part of it really well.
Angel of Mercy skip.
Yeah, it was like it tried to be good, but then it wasn't, but then it was, but then it wasn't, and they didn't do either really well. But then they finish off with 2 really great songs.
I thought track 1 was meh and 2 was good. The rest are garbage.
So this album kind of reminded me at a point, kind of like the Sabaton album, as far as musical, not lyrical content, but musical content. It was something like you were saying, something you would take to go into battle with or like to war. This is really a driving thing. The musical part, if you could look past the lyrics, if that wasn't your cup of tea, the musicianship on this was awesome. Mm-hmm. Like these guys did really good.
Yeah, I like even some of the references that he throws out there lyrically.
Oh yeah.
Me personally, just because I'm into like they tell.
You like when he talks about melting and die after he kisses you once?
That's not what I'm talking about. But the ballad of that song, I like ballads. And it's like one of the lyrics are horrible.
Hold on. If he dies after the first kiss, how is he supposed to...
Exactly. This guy's weird.
I guess twice should be the melt and die on.
Yeah, that song sucked.
It was catchy as hell, though, honestly.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It wasn't the best song.
I did skip it.
Justin Bieber writes some catchy songs, too.
Justin Bieber's a genius.
He can play drums.
So what did you think for ratings-wise, Matt?
I give this a 1.8.
Really?
This sucks bad. Wow. I thought this was not good.
Wow.
What about you, Casey?
I give this a 3.6. I thought it was actually a really good album, almost bordering greatness. It was kind of exactly what you look for in a power metal album. I mean, honestly, it's good. The musical structure was great. The lyrical content was cheesy. The solos were killer, and
it was as original as it could be too. You know what I mean? Like without taking from other.
Everybody in this band can play.
Yeah,
and they show.
That's true. Yeah.
So I rated this at 3.1. I think it's enjoyable. I would listen to it again, and it makes me want to listen to other albums. Actually.
Okay.
I listened to it as some other HammerFall stuff. Not good. This is not the band for me at all.
I feel like I like the newer HammerFall better than the older HammerFall, but I think it's still...
I think newer HammerFall is an oxymoron because it all sounds like it's from 1982.
So good.
This is Blenderstyle. That was HammerFall, Crimson Thunder.
Blender's on fire, Blender's on fire.
Burning, burning with desire.